like, comment, subscribe. Hi folks, Dave with DBS Tech Talk, and today we're going to talk about the QKZ VK4. I want to thank inToit Reviews for sending these over. I do greatly appreciate it. inToit Reviews, you rock. Check out the link down below for a link to inToit Reviews YouTube channel. So the QKZ VK4 has gotten a lot of hype, is well known, and has garnered quite the attention. Is it worth it? Is it a go, no-go for being on the hype train? The VK4 comes in a very small, simple box. You just slide it off and the IEM sits inside there. On the box itself, it does say model number, and then it says DSD Hi-Fi Dynamic. Interesting. Has that high-res sticker, so it's got to be good, right? 16 ohms, 105 decibels of sensitivity, a frequency response of 20 hertz to 40 kilohertz. So let's take a look and see what you get inside. You just pop these out real quick, and your IEMs, they just... Why is it whenever you want to pop some out real easy, it's a battle? So anyways, here are your IEMs. Very simple plastic build. Feel cheap in the hand, and yes, they look cheap. Have a decent build. I mean, $10 to $12. I mean, adequate, but they don't say quality. Get a little bit of branding on them, and you have a nice nozzle, a little bit of a lip. Nothing spectacular. Typical cheap Chi-Fi. You get some chips. You get some tips. You can chuck those off to the side. I did not throw them away into it. And then you get a cable. Now the cable is actually very pleasant. This is by far the best built part of the VK4. It's a very nice cable. As 2-pin connectors. They do say L and R on them, even though it's really hard to see on camera. Enough tension on the ear hooks. You get a microphone on the right cable, a little plastic splitter, and then a 90-degree with a 4-pole 3.5, and a little bit of branding on the L. Not a bad cable whatsoever. I do recommend, though, that, let's get these out here, hang on a second. Do apologize, should have been prepared. That instead of using the stock tips, unless you absolutely have to use the stock tips, that you get these. These are the SpinFit CP145 tips, and I'll put a link down below in the video. And your IEMs, they just connect with ease, L, and R. And then you put your tip on, and I'm dropping things. Here we go. Another thing that the VK4 does very well is actually comfort. The ear hooks do a decent job of holding them in place, and the shell is shaped in a very nice way. Comfort is nice. Isolation, not so great. It's decent. Nothing spectacular. And then you're going to block probably about 50% of the outside noises. Works adequately. I mean, $12. They're not bad. Comfort-wise, they're okay. I would give these about a 6 out of 10. Build-wise. And then comfort, I'd give them an 8. They're actually really quite comfortable for me. I do not have a problem with them. How do they sound? Sound is bassy and fun, with some lean mids and a little bit of harsh treble. But overall, for $12, it's very pleasant. I don't really have any complaints for the price tag of anywhere from $8 to $12. I mean, it's very adequate. Bass wise, it's a little bit one notish. It's a little boomy, thumpy, fun factor, and Details aren't the greatest, but it doesn't lack details. They're there. It's not like extruding, you know, giving you all kinds of micro and macro details, but it is giving you enough details to know what's going on in the song and enough to keep you engaged. Cleanliness and clarity, not the greatest. Tonality is all right, but it's good bass. I mean, it's a fun bass, thick and boomy. The mids, on the other hand, are recessed and they're thin. Vocals sound very distant. They just don't have any life to them. They don't have any body to them. Vocals are very lackluster. Also, instruments, especially pianos, guitars, stringed instruments, woodwind instruments, really lack the body and the tonality that comes along with them. A lot of instruments will sound the same. If you're listening to classical or orchestral music, I found it really hard to be able to determine differences between trumpets and trombones and cellos and violins and such. It's just very hard to really determine what was what. Also, pianos just lack that little crispness and that energy that you can get in them. They just sounded like most pianos sounded like keyboards or electronic pianos to me. The mids were a real letdown. Treble wise, treble's okay. It's extended decently. You get some nice air to it. You get some nice details. Problem is the way it's portrayed does come across as harsh. Just not defined, and it just doesn't resolve things very well, especially in the treble and in the mids. It just lacks that finish that you would get from a better quality IEM. Soundstage wise is decent. It's not very wide, pretty much about ear width. Pretty much everything's in your head, but it doesn't throw it in there and really force it at you. So it's a pleasant sounding, but it's just small. It doesn't have good layering, and it lacks isolation and separation of instruments in the soundstage. A lot of things will sound very close together, and a lot of sounds will kind of merge together and become one note. But for the most part, soundstage is decent for a $12 IEM. For the price tag, are these good for gaming? Yes, these are actually really quite entertaining for gaming. I wouldn't expect to be able to go and set world records with it, but it's adequate for portable use, or if you just want to throw something cheap on, they work very well. Do not have any real complaints there, but if you really want something better for gaming, I would get the ADV Nismo Jr. instead for an IEM. Comes with a removable cable, removable detachable microphone, and just has better soundstage, better overall sound. To me, the ADV Nismo Jr. is superior when it comes to gaming and movie watching when it comes to an IEM, and it only costs $30. So for about 3 times the price of the QKZ VK4, you can just get a better overall IEM in that genre for gaming, music, not music, for movies and YouTube videos and things like that. The Nismo Jr. is better. Do I recommend the VK4? Yeah, I do, for $10. It's nothing more, nothing less. It's adequate for what it does, and you get a decent sound. It sounds better than most cheap IEMs. I mean, if you go over to Dollar General, Dollar Tree, or Walmart, or any of those, and just buy a cheap pair of IEMs, they're not going to have the same quality of sound of these. Now, granted, you have to change the tips, put the CP145s on to make it sound better, but for the most part, you're going to get a better quality sound than you would of something cheap. With that being said, is it better than all the other IEMs that are cheap? You know, when I say cheap, less than $100. That's a good question. And so I'm going to go through my collection of IEMs and earphones that I have, and I'm going to give you a yes or a no. And yes, it is better. No, it is not better. Plain and simple. I mean, that's my opinion on them. If you want more clarification, ask me down below in the comments. So, The WRZ X6. Now these are $7 on Amazon. They're even. The RHA T20s. Nope. Shure Singers. No. Tin Hi-Fi T3. Don't worry about that. That wasn't anything of importance. Tin Hi-Fi T3s. No. Tin Hi-Fi T4. No. The KZ ZSX. No. The LG Quad Beat 3s. Yes. The Samsung earbuds tuned by AKG. Yes. Noble X Universal. No. Mi Audio M6. Yes. Blonde BL03s. No. Hi-Fi Min RE600S. No. Echo Box Nomad N1s. They're really hard to see. Echo Box Nomad N1s. No. Full Cal Spheres. No. TFC King Editions. No. Simga EN700 Pros. No. RHA S500s. No. Barodynamic Soul Birds. No. Pioneer SE CL270s. No. And yes. Those are a little unique because if you change tips on them, the Pioneers can either be really bright or they can be bassy, so it kind of depends on your preference. And so I kind of went back and forth on those, whether or not they were better or worse. ADV S200s. Yes. KB Ear F1s. No. ADV GT3. No. Feel. Whoopsie. Good thing I own these. Fio FH1S. No. Let's see what else we got. Ibosso IT01s. No. Odyssey iSign 10s. No. Meze Ray Solos. No. ADV M51D. No. Alpha Delta KS3s. Yes. And last but not least, the RHA CL750. No. So folks, the QKZ VK4. Does it live up to the hype? Is it a no-go? It's a no-go on the hype. Really, let's simmer down, people. It's a $12 IEM. It's a $12, no more, no less, $12 earphone. It's good for what it does. I recommend it for if you have a young child that wants to get a IEM to be like mama or papa. Go ahead. Spend the $12. If they break it, if you need something to wear while you're working out, while you're mowing the grass, while you're working out in the shop, while you're doing all jogging at the park, or something simple, and you just don't care if it breaks, you don't care if it gets wet or sweaty, you just need something that plays decently and sounds okay, something that you can play games portably while you're waiting around at an office or something. Yeah, get the QKZ VK4, but don't get it to be critical listening. Don't get it if you think that you're going to get something better for cheaper than a Blonde BL03. Just buy a Blonde BL03. If you think that it's going to be better than any of the other headphones that are a little more pricey, no, just pay the money, save up, and get the quality instead. That's just my opinion. So the VK4, yeah, it's good for what it is. Nothing more, nothing less. This has been Dave with DBS Tech Talk. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on the screen is going to be a subscription link and a notification bell. If you haven't already, please check those off. And then please check out the links down below for inToit Reviews channel, for Patreon, PayPal, Discord, Deezer, title playlists, all kinds of other things. Thanks, and have yourself a great day.